The corridor of the starship was silent, save for the faint hum of its fusion engines. I had been assigned to repair the Queen's armor, an honor few humans ever received, and a responsibility that came with equal measures of fear. Her armor wasn't just protective gear, it was a living suit, bonded to the wearer's neural and physical rhythms, responding to thoughts, movements, even emotions. A single misalignment could injure her, or worse, trigger a security lockdown. I tightened the last panel bolts and ran a diagnostic scan. Everything seemed functional. The armor's surface pulsed with a subtle, violet glow as if acknowledging my touch. I exhaled and stepped back, wiping the sweat from my brow. "You've completed the repairs." Her voice cut through the corridor like a blade. I froze and looked up. She stood at the entrance to the chamber, regal, tall, and terrifyingly beautiful. Her eyes glowed faintly, gold flecks spinning like miniature galaxies. Even through the thick armor plating, I could feel the presence of her authority, the weight of her power pressing down on me. "Yes, Your Majesty," I said, bowing slightly. "The armor is stable and fully synchronized with your neural interface." She tilted her head, observing me as if I were a curious animal she was considering keeping. "You've handled something very few humans would dare touch," she said softly, the armor's glow intensifying in response. "Few are skilled enough, and few are still brave enough, to approach me directly." I swallowed, my pulse quickening. I'm trained in exosuit mechanics, Your Majesty." I followed protocols exactly. A smile, rare, almost imperceptible, curved her lips. "You're different," she murmured. Then, almost casually, she said, "I've chosen you as my mate." I blinked. My brain stuttered. "Excuse me?" I said, "You are my chosen mate." Her voice was calm, deliberate, and terrifyingly final. "The bond is not optional. You will serve as my consort." I felt my knees weaken. Chosen. Mate. Me. A human technician, someone who had barely survived interstellar travel and alien politics, was now considered worthy of the Queen's selection. It didn't seem real. I can't," I stammered. "I'm just a mechanic." "I'm not." "Titles do not matter," she interrupted. "Skill, courage, and the ability to act without fear, that is what matters. You've demonstrated all three. And now, you belong to me." The air between us seemed to thicken. The armor's glow shifted, as though it sensed our conversation and responded to the tension. I tried to process it logically, a human being chosen as mate for an alien queen. It sounded like a myth, a tale to frighten children on distant colonies. And yet, here she stood, her authority absolute, and her gaze locked on me with unwavering intensity. "Your Majesty," I said finally, I don't know how to." She stepped closer, and the air vibrated with energy. The hum of her armor deepened, resonating through my bones. "Do not resist the choice," she said. "It is not only my will, it is the will of the Council. You will come with me to the royal chambers tonight." I nodded, unable to form words. She turned, the armor's plates sliding with seamless motion, each movement precise and graceful. I followed her, feeling the weight of a destiny I hadn't asked for pressing down on me. The royal chambers were unlike anything I had ever seen. Organic architecture fused with technology, walls shimmered with living light, responding to her presence. Her throne was a floating structure, pulsing with energy, a centerpiece of power and authority. She gestured toward it, and I realized I was expected to approach. "Sit," she commanded softly. I obeyed. The throne's energy hummed against my nervous skin. The Queen descended from her elevated position, standing directly before me. The armor's neural interface pulsed against her consciousness, and I could feel it vague, intrusive, but undeniable. "You will bond with me tonight," she said. "The process is simple for your kind, a touch, a synchronization of energies. For me, it is eternal. One touch will bind you in ways you cannot imagine. I swallowed, heart racing. My hands shook. The rational part of my brain screamed to flee, to reject the absurdity of this situation. Yet another part, a deeper, more primal part, recognized the gravity of the moment, the alignment of fate that had brought me here. "You are not frightened?" she asked. I hesitated. "I am wary." She smiled faintly, and the armor emitted a low, resonant hum, as if approving her thought. "Good," she said. "Fearlessness is not bravery. Awareness is. And now, you will awaken fully to your role." She extended her hand. I hesitated only a moment before taking it. The instant our fingers met, energy surged through me, warm, pulsing, alive. The chamber itself seemed to resonate with the connection. I could feel her thoughts, not clearly, but as a rhythm, a wave of certainty and power. And I realized, with a mixture of awe and terror, that she could feel mine as well. The bond wasn't physical, it was deeper, mental and emotional. A silent exchange of energy, emotion, and intent. My consciousness felt lighter, expanded, intertwined with hers. I saw flashes of her memories, battles, councils, negotiations, victories, and losses. I understood her strength, her vulnerabilities, her desire for a companion who could stand with her, not merely beneath her, but alongside. I gasped, overwhelmed by the intensity. "You are mine," she whispered, her voice wrapping around my mind like silk and steel. "And you are safe, as long as you remain true." I stammered. "I don't know what to say." "You will learn," she said simply. "And you will adapt. The bond will teach you, guide you, protect you. There is no alternative. You are part of me now, as I am part of you." For hours, we remained connected, exploring the depths of the synchronization, learning each other's rhythms, sharing thoughts, fears, and ambitions. I discovered she was not only a ruler but also a strategist, a warrior, and a being of immense complexity. Her choice of me wasn't arbitrary, it was calculated, deliberate, and terrifyingly intelligent. When the process concluded, she stepped back. The room seemed quieter, the energy settled. I felt different, not just bonded, but changed, aware of her presence within my own consciousness. "You will need rest," she said. "Tonight has been intense, but tomorrow the council will convene. They will observe, and your abilities will be tested further." I nodded, still reeling. "And us?" She smiled, a real, fleeting smile. "We are bound, chosen, and synchronized. That is enough for now. Everything else will follow in time." The next days were a whirlwind. I was introduced to the council, made to undergo trials that tested not only my technical skills but also my courage, decision-making, and emotional stability. The Queen's presence was constant, a guiding force that both comforted and unnerved me. I was acutely aware of the scrutiny from other council members, their whispers, their astonishment at a human chosen as mate. Some envied me. Some feared me. But the Queen's trust was absolute, and that shielded me more than anything else. By the end of the first week, I had learned the subtle power dynamics of the court, the expectations placed upon me, and the responsibilities that came with being bound to the alien queen. It wasn't just ceremony or title, it was a living, breathing partnership, one that required vigilance, intellect, and the willingness to face dangers I could barely comprehend. One evening, she summoned me to the training grounds, a vast, floating platform above the city, lit by twin moons. The armor she had worn during our first meeting now lay stripped to its ceremonial form, revealing her physical prowess and grace. She moved with precision, demonstrating combat maneuvers that defied gravity, strength, and logic. "Your bond is not merely emotional or mental," she explained. "It is also physical. To stand with me, you must survive, adapt, and excel. I watched, heart hammering, as she demonstrated techniques that could easily incapacitate any human soldier. And then, to my surprise, she handed me a lightweight exosuit, perfectly fitted to my size. "You will train," she said. "We will fight together, as equals." The training was grueling. My muscles burned, my coordination faltered, and yet, each time I struggled, her presence guided me. I could feel her awareness of my limitations, her adjustments, her encouragement. And slowly, I improved not just in skill, but in confidence. By the end of the 3rd week, I was capable of fighting alongside her, synchronized not only in mind but in movement. Together, we became a force that rivaled any patrol or defense squad within the Empire. Then came the moment I realized what it truly meant to be chosen. We were on a mission to quell a rebellion on a distant mining colony. Hostile forces outnumbered us, and I feared we might fail. Yet, as we fought side by side, I felt her presence guiding my decisions, enhancing my reflexes, predicting the enemy's movements. The rebels had never encountered a human so synchronized with the Queen. Their attacks faltered, their morale crumbled. Victory was ours, achieved through a bond that transcended species, experience, and expectation. After the battle, she turned to me, her eyes glowing warmly. "Do you understand now?" she asked. "I do," I said, finally able to articulate the truth. Being chosen, it's not about privilege. It's about trust, strength, and unity. I won't fail you." She smiled. "Then you are ready." Weeks turned into months. I continued my duties, my bond with the Queen growing stronger, deeper, unshakable. I learned to anticipate her thoughts, to act in harmony, to support her not only as a mate but as a partner in governance, strategy, and survival. And in quiet moments, when the armor was set aside, when the council observed only formalities, she would look at me and say, softly, "You are mine." And I would smile, finally understanding that being chosen wasn't a burden, nor a reward. It was a destiny we shared, forged in trust, courage, and the unyielding connection between human and alien queen. Together, we ruled, we fought, and we survived. And nothing, not stars, enemies, or time itself, could sever the bond we had forged the night I repaired her armor.